Hello, and welcome to the darkest timeline.
Film podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Darkest Timeline. I am David.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dylan.
And today we watched a piece of movie that has no reason for its own existence.
Well, no, nuclear disarmament,
We watched Superman 4.
which is about nuclear disarmament.
The Quest for Peace.
Ba 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 ba. Ba ba ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba ba ba. Dylan,
Yes.
hit us with that plot, whatever you may think it is.
Hit us with that plot, man.
Okay, so Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Is about a quest for peace by Superman 4.
It's a lie!
Well, technically it's a quest for peace because every superhero movie is a quest for peace.
Almost every movie could be defined
That's
as
not
a
true.
quest for peace.
Deadpool was not a quest for peace.
Deadpool is a quest for revenge.
Yes.
Anyway, so Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. So Superman decides, so a little kid makes a brash comment about the fact that Superman should totally destroy all the nuclear weapons, and Superman decides that that's the best course of action as dictated by a third grade child.
Wait, a really dumb sounding
A
third
really
grade child.
dumb, buck-toothed piece of third grade child.
Well, we don't know he was in third grade.
He's in third grade now.
He was definitely a piece of
Anyway, he decides to say that Superman should destroy all the nuclear weapons because this whole thing going, everyone, apparently some accords or whatever didn't pass, and everyone's like, well, we need to be the best at nuclear weapons, and decide to make a ton of them. And then after a little while,
To be fair, that basically actually happened.
yeah, but in this movie, there's Superman.
and his giant net.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, Dave. So Superman, after some boring shit happens, decides to destroy all the nuclear weapons, gathers them all up in a giant Glad bag, and throws them into the sun. To be fair, it was probably a normal-sized Glad bag, but they can stretch.
Well, yeah, it was one of the ones with the mesh so stuff doesn't break out.
Yeah, we've all seen the commercials.
Although I couldn't tell you the slogan.
Glad, be happy.
I think it's be glad, actually. That'd make more
Sure,
sense.
whatever. And then Lex Luthor Lex Luthor breaks out of prison, thanks to his nephew
Lenny.
Lenny Luthor.
We'll talk about Lenny.
He's basically a millennial if a millennial was in the 80s.
Great, let's past Lenny. We'll get to Lenny.
So
There's a lot to say
he-
about Lenny.
Lex Luthor decides to make a variation on Superman using Superman's hair, and kind of makes Superman make evil Superman by throwing a thing into the sun, and it makes Nuclear Man.
Is his name
Yeah.
Nuclear Man?
I think it's
Nuclear Man. Well, it's not.
Nuclear.
It's Nuclear Man.
Nuclear.
He's new and clear.
Nuclear Man?
Nuclear Man.
Because he has an N on his chest.
He does.
Kind of. It's kind of to the side. It's an italic N.
Could be a Z.
So, Superman makes Nuke Man, and Nuclear Man decides.
I mean, you gotta call him by his full name. It's just rude to call him Nuke Man. He didn't sign off on that nickname.
Nuke Boy.
Nuke Boy is totally rude.
Nuke Boy. He was just born. He was literally born yesterday or today.
Well, Nuke Baby then.
And he was
Nuke
born.
Baby.
He was born with a cape and clothing and great hair and Hayden Christensen's face and some pretty sweet nails.
Yeah,
He borrowed-
crazy poison toxic.
Borrowed from a goth kid.
Yeah.
Who was way into gold.
Look out, Hot Topic.
Here comes Nuke Man.
And he's not paying on
Nuke
credit.
Nuke baby. Nick boy.
He was literally born yesterday. He would fall for like your shoelaces untied.
But anyway,
Well, he
so
didn't have shoelaces.
so he starts some mad shit, and Superman fights him, and and eventually, and Superman puts him in an elevator, puts him on the moon, and then finds a flag, and then Nuke Man tackles him and puts Superman in the sand, and then there's a cape. He takes the cape, puts it on the desk, and people think he's dead, Superman. And then Superman comes back and throws Nuke Man into a nuclear reactor.
He does?
Yeah.
Did I pass out for that?
No, you made comments about it. You were kind of angry that was so stupid.
I don't remember that at all.
That's
Well,
par-
that makes sense.
That's par for the course, Dave.
I don't remember that at all.
He throws him into a nuclear reactor, and Nuke Man dies.
Well,
And,
no, he's powering the reactor.
Oh yeah, he's powering the reactor, and all the lights in Metropolis. I'm gonna say Gotham. All the lights in Metropolis get real bright, and then Superman brings Lex Luthor back to prison, and Lenny to a Catholic school.
Well, for remedial.
Remedial.
Like it said remedial on the gate about something.
So
For delinquents.
yeah, and then
I'm sure that's going to work out great. for him.
everything turned out better than expected.
Well, I mean, he's already a delinquent. He's gonna do really well there.
So
He's
that's
gonna- networking,
so that's the
social media.
So that's the gigantic quotes plot of this movie.
This movie had no plot.
No,
I
the
mean,
plot
that
was nuclear disarmament. We've said that.
No, that's
I
a
think.
theme.
That's the theme.
No, that's a plot. According to them.
It's a plot in the same way that selling the Kent farm is a plot. He never sold that farm.
That was one scene in the beginning of the movie, and they never brought it up again.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't gonna sell to anyone but a farmer because he didn't want it to turn into a mall, and that never came up again.
was that
Really?
part of the theme? Was that part of nuclear disarmament?
Yeah, man, farms help against nuclear disarmament. Wait a minute.
I wanted to say,
don't know.
Kent, look at the around. There is no one. There's no mall. There's no suburb. There's
Well,
nothing
yeah,
here.
well, yeah,
no one's
but-
going to turn this into a mall.
Well, they would have because he owned all of that land. It's a farm. He owned acres, man. It would become like residential and malls, and that's what's destroying America, man.
Commerce.
Yeah.
But you need people and you need places for those people to live.
You'd think.
Yeah, but not in Kansas.
Clark Kent is kind of a
Yes.
full stop.
Hey, can we talk about Lenny?
So Lenny's garbage.
Oh no, Lenny's a
Lenny has some things going for him.
What does he have going for him, Dave?
his hair.
His cars.
His cars were, I mean, it was like something out of Dr. Seuss,
That's true.
which I guess is pretty cool.
I would drive in that car. I think that car would get women. It would be a very specific type of woman who would be into Lenny Fader's convertible.
Lenny Luthor.
Lenny Fader? Did I say
Lenny
Lenny?
Fader.
It's from Grown Ups.
Yep. I think you listened to a little bit too much of another podcast, Dave. So Lenny Luthor. His name is on the side of the car in like big gold or silver letters.
It says Lenny.
And his sound system is like tubes that go up next to his convertible car into like kind of trumpet-like speakers that are like near the heads of people.
By the way, that are outside of where the windows roll up. So if you had the top down and the windows up, you wouldn't be
if
able
you
to
have a
hear.
top down, rain or sun, you are having the top down. Did I say good?
No,
If you have a convertible, that's what I meant to say.
And also, nobody dies in this film.
Well, yeah.
No, not even those cops. There's some cops that get like driven off a cliff in a car, and the car theoretically explodes because
Well,
there's
after,
smoke.
After landing on upside down.
Upside down. There's
Hundreds of
smoke.
stories. There is an explosion.
Hundreds of stories, maybe like
A dozen.
several stories, but still, it lands upside down, and
and
there's
explodes.
there is smoke billowing from the car, and then the cops kind of crawl over the edge, like, we didn't expect that to happen.
Oh, you Dukes of Hazzard, we'll get you next time.
This movie goes out of its way to whenever anything bad happens, it shows the people getting out like, we're okay.
We're okay, including the Great Wall of China, which is destroyed by Nuke Boy and
Nuke baby.
Nuke baby.
Nuke Baby, and somehow Superman has a superpower that just he looks at things and he can build them.
What are the implications of that?
Well, I mean, he could build cities.
Is it just like raw materials, or could he fix people?
Yeah, what are the limitations?
What are the limitations of this psychotic power they randomly gave him in this movie?
And is it like Minecraft? Like, can he just build anything he wants out of anything?
Or is it you have to have a blueprint? Like,
Well-
it should look like that wall over there.
Wait, if he can just make stuff, could he make a building out of people who didn't previously exist? It'd be like making a building out of dead bodies, but the bodies never had to die, they came out dead.
What?
That's really dark.
What? I don't even understand what you just said.
That's some Voldemort going on over there, Ian.
Voldemort was never that devious.
I don't know, maybe that is not the right thing that should have popped into my head first. I don't know.
I think what we're trying to get at is this movie is not what you would consider good.
I feel like I need to point out
That Christopher Reeves did a bad thing, and a bad thing was done to him in return.
Wow, that is not what I was going to point out. That is some rough karma you have going on there.
It's not my karma, it's his.
Oh, God.
This
No,
movie.
hey, I still had a thing to say, damn
Go,
it.
Ian.
I thank my stars. I went through my life up until this point without seeing this movie.
And I don't understand that. Because I've seen this movie.
Yeah,
I saw
Dylan
this
saw
movie.
it.
I saw this movie when I was like 8 on TV, and I was like, "This isn't a good Superman movie." I don't think that's what this is. And the following year was 1999, and I saw episode 1 in theaters, and I was like, "That was f***ing rad." So how bad was this movie?
Yeah.
That 8-year-old me thought it was shit, and 9-year-old me liked episode 1 of Star Wars.
Yeah, well, I somehow didn't see The Quest for Peace. I'd gone under the impression that I had seen it just because I couldn't imagine having not seen
Nuclear
it.
Man and the footsteps and the fight on the moon that was basically the fight from Star Trek where Kirk was fighting that Gorn dude in slow motion, but worse somehow.
Wow, that was specific.
Okay, on the moon, you're gonna have to help me fill in some holes here. Nuke Baby
Yes.
pile drives Superman as though he were a railroad spike into the
Well,
moon.
a pile driver is different.
What did
but
he
I
do?
get what you're
He
saying.
just kind of threw him
Well,
into
he-
he kind of just pushed him into the ground.
But the analogy of a railroad spike is
Yes.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Then he pounded him into the ground like a railroad spike.
How does he get out of that?
Oh, he just gets out of it.
He was Superman. He's kind of strong.
Well, it's dirt. It's dirt isn't kryptonite.
but it's moon dirt.
But he's.
He was like asleep,
I must
right?
have blinked or something. I
it
don't
takes,
remember
like-
him coming out of that.
it takes a few minutes.
They
and
didn't like show him leave it. They show him like showing up to Nuclear Man again.
No. They show him getting out of the moon.
I don't remember that.
No, he gets out. He like
Gets out of the moon.
Well, he just kind of like goes. Whoop, he's out of it, and then he picks up the American flag that was right next to it and sticks it back in the ground, and then he flies off the moon.
I don't remember any of that.
I do because I have a mind like a steel trap. Ask me anything, I will know the answer.
I'm going to leave that on the table. Let's move on.
I was really hoping you'd ask me anything.
Wait, so you mentioned a minute ago Superman's ability to rebuild all structures with his f***ing eyes.
Out of dead bodies. Yeah.
That is not what we said.
Well, that's what I said.
But his
His power set in this movie and extending beyond this movie into the rest of the movies in this series is psychotic. What?
Can I just say that my idea would make a really badass, weird shirt that no one would understand?
was that
The bodybuilding that Superman made.
Bodybuilding.
Superman's bodybuilding?
Hey, it's the only way he knows how. He can't just work
Let's
out.
go back to Dylan's power set commentary.
Okay. So, not only can he look at things and have them rebuild themselves, he has telekinesis. He, like, at one point, well, Nuclear Man apparently has telekinesis too, because he can make people spin up in the air, and Superman looks at those people, and then they float back down to the ground. So he has telekinesis. And if he kisses you, then you will forget, like, the last 25 minutes or whatever of your life.
No, it's got to be far more than 25 minutes. He flew Lois Lane to San Francisco and back.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
true.
he did.
And then he kissed her with his magic roofie lips, and she couldn't remember any of it.
Not a thing.
I mean,
she was
didn't
like,
that happened in Superman 2 as
yeah,
well?
that happened in Superman 2, and I was angry at that, because that is not something that Superman can do.
I know, but...
Okay, well, that being the case, I mean, the Superman comics, like, there's that period of time, like, around the period of time where Batman is, like, weird and campy and utterly bullshit, is the same period of time where Superman is weird and campy and utterly bullshit, and he has the strangest set of powers. I'm pretty sure that Kiss is among them, but they just like gave him things that he had the ability to do because
For
they needed
that
it
issue.
for the story that they were telling. And I guess that's what they were doing in this movie. But the kissing to remove the memories? Is that necessary?
It's a really good kiss. I don't know.
And my question for you both is this.
No.
What was the market of comics at the time?
I mean, like, you mean of the actual comics?
Of the like, who were buying these things going, yes, we want Batman and Superman to be as campy as possible.
Well, that was studios.
But it's
You mean like the movies or the comics themselves?
the comics themselves.
The comics themselves, I mean, that was just a product of the times, I guess.
I know, but what time facilitated
was
the
like
shittiest Superman we've ever seen?
60s and 70s. It was a weird time, man.
I feel like we need to get another person to be on this podcast who is just a historian of comic books.
You know,
you're pretty close. You are pretty close.
I'm okay. I got some knowledge, bro. Let me tell you,
Bro.
but my knowledge
but
doesn't.
the 60s and
stretch.
70s were.
This
don't
is not a
understand
time
them.
when I was alive.
I know.
Nor were the 80s.
Nor were the 80s.
Like, if I were to be on a podcast in 30 years from now and everyone's like, what's with all the gender swaps? We don't understand why every superhero has gotten a different, like...
I mean, right now, Thor is a woman.
Right, no.
Wolverine is a woman.
Yeah, and so I could speak to that as a person who's lived through this era, why...
Oh, everyone's trying to be wildly politically correct right now. And, you know, they're overcorrecting in some areas, but sometimes it's fine.
Right. But why does Superman have roofie breath?
That is because, oh man, they needed it for the they really wanted Lois to give Superman some advice, but they like thought they needed Clark Kent to ask her for the advice, I guess. And then the Superman,
It didn't make any sense.
It was useless. They didn't need to happen.
And I'm pretty sure Lois Lane's always knows exactly that Clark is Superman, and she is just kind of letting him feel like he's got a secret identity. Because when whenever something comes into the Daily Planet for Superman, she's like, "Oh, Clark."
Clark should probably read this note to Superman.
Clark should probably take this cape just in case Clark sees or hears from Superman in the future.
Right. It feels like Santa Claus when I was a toddler.
I didn't believe in Santa Claus.
He didn't believe in you.
Well, that's because he's not real and he can't believe in things.
I would like to point out a few things that...
I would like to apologize for any children who happen to be listening to this podcast and still believe in Santa, who's not real.
Santa's real.
Santa's not real.
Santa's real.
Never real.
St. Nicholas died years ago.
He punched a heretic in the face.
What?
He did. In the never mind.
Okay. So, read a book, everyone. So, speaking of Lois Lane, a couple of things you said about her
Bring it.
that you might have forgotten
I spent most of the movie just like
in a fugue state.
honestly making fun of Lois Lane as hard as I could, unfairly mostly about her appearance. Go
Sure.
ahead.
Three things that I wrote down that you said. She looks like she had been a smoker for 70 years.
Do you remember saying that? You don't remember saying that. Good to know. Good to know.
She looks like she's about to be a meth addict.
Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
You do. Good.
Okay.
First one, not so much.
I think you'll remember this one. It looks like she's slowly turning into a skeleton.
I remember that one. She looked like all the fat in her lips were just like gone away and turning into just the skeleton.
Are you proud of yourself, David?
Yeah. Those were pretty good.
I'm glad.
I'm pretty sure I had a few more, but those were the
and
highlights.
speaking of people who don't look so great in this movie, there was a certain point in time in this movie where Clark Kent is pretty clearly dying of cancer.
Oh my God! Yeah, when he is. Well, I mean, he's not
After-
so much dying of cancer as like overusing
Radiation.
chemotherapy. I don't know.
Or
Yeah.
radiation poisoning or something like that.
Yeah.
But he
His hair's falling.
his hair's
out.
falling out. It's all white. He looks messed up. He looks probably about like Christopher Reeves did right before he died. And I thought about it, and it's pretty.
Wait, can I say that was a really f***ed up thing to say about Christopher Reeves?
You can.
No, the statute of limitations on
But,
Christopher Reeves jokes is passed.
Yeah, everything's fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, Cancer Boy.
Like, what's the opposite of Christopher Walken? Christopher Reeve. I love
Hi
that
ho,
joke.
silver away.
Nuke Baby versus
Oh.
Cancer Man.
Nuke Baby versus but Cancer Man. So Superman. When Clark Kent, he looks like he's gonna die, and I was thinking about that, and there's actually some pretty legitimate comic book evidence that is a thing, because one of the things that can actually harm Superman is like severe radiation, like from a nuclear bomb or something. And which is like one of the things I actually appreciated in Batman v Superman when he goes up in space and gets hit by the nuclear bomb, and then he's like all wrinkled and deformed for a moment before the sun hits him and he gets all better. Because that's
Spoilers.
yeah, that's one of the things that Superman is harmed by. Besides, because the sun gives him his power, and radiation from nuclear bombs is like a different kind of radiation that like saps the energy of things. It's weird. I'm not explaining it properly.
Scientifically,
But
it actually makes
scientifically,
sense.
it is the opposite of sun radiation in terms of Superman. And so a nuclear device would harm Superman immensely. So the idea that Nuke Man would beat the shit out of Superman, and Superman would be dying of cancer for a while until he like used his magical green bullshit crystal from Superman 2 to get his powers back, kind of makes sense.
I want to pause there. I agree with you. I have a question, though.
Yes.
No.
I may have missed the point of the movie where he uses green kryptonite to get healthy.
It didn't happen. He picked it up when he looked f***ed up, and the next time you see him, he's fine
Yeah.
and Superman.
They're hoping you saw Superman 2 when he uses this crystal, and they mention like even in the flashback or what the like there's this dialogue crap from his mom in this movie.
Wait,
that
where she calls his home planet Krypton.
Krypton, the planet Krypton.
She's got a
Which
upper
is
class.
That Kryptonian drawl.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, I get
Krypton.
it.
Oh yes, it's planet Krypton will be the
The sun shall never set on the Kryptonian
the Krypton
Krypton Empire.
The Krypton Empire.
Cryptempire. No, that's not right.
Fire. That's a different thing.
Cryptempire. Cryptempire? No.
So continue.
What was I even talking about?
We were talking about how green.
Oh yeah, so in Superman
Yeah.
2, he loses, or he decides that he wants because Superman can't have sex with Lois Lane because he's Superman and he would kill her. There have been literally books written about this idea. So he gets his powers taken away by this green thing that his mom, in a voice thing, tells him will take away his powers and can only be used once. It can only be used once. And he uses it twice in the movie. Once to take away his powers and once to get them back.
And-
Which the voice doesn't tell him he can do. He just does it because he figures it's right. Or maybe the voice, I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's a horrible movie as well.
Then in this movie, he uses it for a third time.
Yeah, he uses it again to get his powers back, which is crap. This is stupid.
So
Even after in this movie, she says you can only use it once,
Yeah.
and he's used it twice already.
And like even that green, this green thing from Krypton, from Krypton, from Krypton, from Krypton,
Krypton.
This green thing from Krypton, and
Hashtag Krypton.
when you think of Krypton and rocks that come from Krypton and the color green, you think kryptonite, which will kill Superman on contact, which is what everyone would think. But he grabs this stupid rock, and suddenly it's oh, my powers are gone or my powers are back, depending on how I need to use it today. But it's not kryptonite. I don't know why they didn't choose another color.
kryptonite.
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 Yeah, it was
Well, it's
kryptonite.
Kryptonite is fine,
but
but
it's Krypton.
Krypton is the planet. Damn it, there's an O.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, wait,
so
side note on Krypton.
I guess that's part of my comic book rant.
Good for you.
Side note on Krypton. to bring it back from what podcast was that?
Sorority Boys.
To bring it back from Sorority Boys, the Superboy show from the 90s. In that, there are two aliens that disguise themselves as
Clark's-
Superboy's
Yeah, as Kal-El's parents.
Kal-El's biological parents, Jor-El and whatever
His wife.
Jor-El and whatever his mom's name is, who are played by what's his face? The Bond nobody liked.
George Lazenby and whoever the Bond girl from that movie was.
So they're playing Superman's parents,
And they call
call the planet Krypton constantly. Like, it's like a double episode, and they call it that like 40 times, and it bothered me to no end. And then it came up in this movie, and I died inside.
Well, this movie came first.
Well, yeah, but I hadn't seen it until today.
That's fair.
Krypton. Hashtag Krypton.
We've been bagging on this movie for a long time.
Yes, we have.
We really need to bring it in, bring in some happiness, bring in some positivity.
I didn't even think about that during this movie.
Was there anything that was good about this movie?
Soundtrack.
I know you liked Lenny's sick car, bro.
Lenny's sick car. What did you say, Ian?
I thought the soundtrack is good, but I'm sure I can think of something
The
else.
soundtrack was pretty good, yeah.
I liked Cleavage McBigwig because she didn't really show up in the movie, so they couldn't ruin whatever her character was supposed to be.
The publisher of the New Daily Planet?
No.
No, the lady that it switches to wherever Lex is, and he's dancing with that one lady who's in the Victorian dress with the massive cleavage thing and a giant wig.
Yes, there was a moment where he was just dancing with it. Does he have a time machine that we don't know about?
Well, no, he just likes to
Can
have.
buy old clothes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just vintage.
That was as weird as the Mozart's gang.
I liked that because suddenly I was in a different movie and I was no longer watching Superman.
For just a second, Gene Hackman as Amadeus.
Well, there was also the woman with the chest. Anyway, what did you like, Ian?
Oh man, I'm looking at my notes, man.
I got
There's gotta
something
be
else.
man.
I got something else I liked
Yeah.
about this movie. It was an hour and 26 minutes long.
Was it an hour and 26 minutes?
Yep. Well, like before the credits hit, I think.
God bless this movie for being short. You can be bad, but you have to be short. If you're both a bad movie and a long movie, you make it to the bottom of my deck.
Oh, there we go. I like how actually different Christopher Reeves plays Clark Kent and Superman. Because they are different people, just in that entire series. He does it so well. He
is
did
true.
it the best, probably.
He does do it the best. And to the point where there's a point. Okay, there is Lois Lane. She's in a crowd, and she's about to interview Superman. And she turns to Clark Kent and says, "You just get reaction quotes from the audience." And he's like, "Oh, I would need my tape recorder for that." Oh,
He starts patting his jacket first.
Right, I forgot my tape recorder. I have to be back. And then Lois Lane and whoever her entourage is for that scene goes, "Oh, that's so
Jimmy
Clark."
Olsen.
Yeah, Jimmy
i.e.
Olsen.
the guy with the camera. I don't think they ever say his name.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen. I think there's a.
I'd say Jimmy a couple of
Right.
times.
Okay.
I
wasn't
thought there
paying
was
attention.
more than just Jimmy. But he then walks away, and there's just this moment of like 5 seconds between Superman and Clark Kent where you really get
Wait.
between Clark Kent and Superman, where you get the bravado change for Superman, where he goes from like kind of bumbling news reporter to
Yeah.
chest out, head up Superman, and I bought it. Like I saw how even though they looked the same, you
Yeah,
might not
like,
even think
He was a
there's-
really good actor.
Well, there was that thing there was that story that I've heard that that legitimizes the idea that Clark Kent could put on glasses and slouch and no one would see he's Superman. That Marilyn Monroe would go around and she wouldn't stand up straight, and if she stood up straight, then people would be like, "Holy shit, it's Marilyn Monroe." But if she was just kind of slouching around and just dressed like a normal person, no one would know it was her.
Right. There's a certain thing where like celebrity can be turned on and off.
You expect a certain gravitas from a person of like a higher level than you perceive yourself.
Of celebrity.
yeah.
Another thing I thought was really interesting was the kind of side plot about the Daily Planet being taken over by the
Weston Core or something.
yeah, the
something
yellow
like
print
that.
journalism.
Oh, I got Warfield.
Yeah.
Warfield.
Warfield.
Warfield?
Warfield
Warfield?
Mr. Warfield is a sack of human garbage.
He is basically... You watch the Daily Planet become a gossip rag in this movie?
And also basically the forerunner to the internet.
Yeah.
It felt so much like
Gawker.
Gawker or BuzzFeed or any of those.
Clickbait.
Just not news places.
Right. There's a moment where the title for the newspaper is "The World is on the Brink of Destruction," and Lois Lane says to Warfield, "Is the world's not really on the brink of destruction?"
I think that was Clark.
Oh yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But the whole point is like they put this extreme title on this stupid article.
Wait, with a picture of like a topless woman covering her breasts or something. It was so strange.
Yeah, and I just feel like that was about 30 years ago now.
Yeah. That was Welcome to Modern Media.
Yeah, welcome to modern media. And it made me sad about 2016, 17, and 18 because
What about the past? We've been living in this world for like a while now.
I just want to future-proof this podcast.
We don't need to bother with that.
So are we done with things we liked?
Oh man, I got another thing that I thought was not so much I disliked, but I thought was funny.
Okay.
Just because when it happened in the movie,
The
when
glad bag of nukes.
No, when Superman moved the moon, and I immediately thought, well, the world's dead now.
Oh yeah. What are the implications of moving? I mean, that's the changing of the tides. Like I think the magnetic poles of the Earth would have issues after that.
Oh yeah, like I said, the world is dead now. Like within days, everything's gone.
Right? Yeah.
It's like not okay.
No, it's not.
Massive tidal waves, children just tearing tissue paper in the corner, mothers screaming for their lives.
They don't have time for that. They're already dead. By the time he got back to Earth, he looked down on the destruction he had wrought and wished for kryptonite to slit his own wrists with. That is what happened. And you know what he did after that? He built a body palace.
What?
I don't know, I just wanted to bring that back.
Okay.
So we did the bad, did the good. How would you fix this movie?
Are we really that?
Yeah.
I know there's plenty more wrong with this movie that we could give a shot.
I'm happy with what we threw at it. If you got more.
Nuke Baby's logo is complete garbage.
He lifts,
It's an italic N with the sun around it.
no, it's not just the sun. It is the symbol of the seven new gods of Westeros.
Is it? Well,
Yep.
Okay.
For you Lord of the Rings, or Lord of the Rings, for you Game of Thrones fans.
High five, dude. Yeah.
and speaking of typesetting that's horrible, the opening credits.
Oh, you mean the PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah, the PowerPoint presentation laid over a picture of the Earth. Yes.
Not even a picture of the Earth. I'm pretty sure they could have gotten their hands on a picture of the real Earth in 1985. They chose to get a model that had no water. There were no oceans on that Earth.
I don't know about that.
David does.
Also, is Lex Luthor? He was digging rocks at a prison colony.
Mining granite,
He was
Dylan.
mining or whatever. Is that a thing?
It's a noble profession.
Is that
Yeah.
really the thing that
Yeah, I
people
mean,
do?
but like 1930s.
This was in the 80s.
Yeah, it is like a callback to movies such
Also-
as I Was a Prisoner on the Chain Gang.
Also, this movie
1936.
came out in 1987.
Say that again at the mic. I mean, really.
This movie came out in 1987, and at the end of the movie, when Superman carts Lex off to prison, he says, "See you in 20." Okay? And let me say one thing. Superman was a liar, because it was only 19 years until Superman Returns.
No, Superman versus Batman.
Superman Returns. What's his name?
Yeah, but was Lex Luthor in that
Brandon
one?
Rowe.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
played by Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I got a thing to say about that. So I like Superman Returns. I know a lot of people didn't, but Superman Returns was a sequel to Superman 2, and Superman. I mean, those movies weren't great, but in the end of Superman 2, Superman leaves, and then in Superman Returns, he comes back after a long period of time, and like Lois has settled down with a man and has a son and stuff like that. And the entire movie is about Superman trying to reconnect, like with the magic that they had in the first two movies. And people always say that it's kind of pandery and it's stealing moments from the first two movies, and it's Superman trying to like force the connection between him and Lois that he had in those movies, and her being kind of like, yeah, I'm sorry, but that's I have a husband, so. And I like that movie, and in my mind, there is no Superman quadrilogy. There is a Superman trilogy that consists of Superman's 1, Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, and Superman Returns. And Superman 3 and 4 don't exist.
And
You know
then
what?
Superman versus Batman.
Well, that's a different canon entirely.
I
Superman
gotta say,
3 and
though,
4 aren't even movies. They don't happen.
that what he just said, that trilogy thing is so much more well liked than Superman 1 through 4 that you can buy like a Blu-ray set of those 3 movies. That's what they've decided to do instead, because they're like, yeah, these 3 movies make a better set than those 4.
See, and I would say that is an argument for not numbering your movies but giving them subtitles. Superman: The Quest for Peace, though it was
Still
Superman 4,
garbage.
it was still garbage, but it was at least had a better title than Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Sure.
Well,
And
and
then
it was Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, so
Oh,
Well, no, they couldn't have called Superman Returns Superman 3 Returns because, they already did a Superman 3 that they were kind of retconning.
well, I mean, they could have, and that would have been hilarious.
I suppose.
I liked Superman versus Batman.
I liked parts of it.
Yeah. Well,
That's not for today.
that's another day. We'll talk about that movie another day. Like, a long day.
But I just want to say, like, when it comes to Lex Luthor's, I thought Jesse Eisenberg did an okay job.
He was,
It was a different guy.
Lex Luthor. He was Lenny Luthor if Lenny Luthor owned Facebook and Google.
It was Lenny Luthor if he was as smart as Lex.
You
well,
don't know.
even
He
even
seemed-
this
he
even
broke
the
Lex
le-
out of prison.
in Batman versus Superman, that's not even Lex.
It's not.
That he even says like, well, his name is Lex, but he's Lex Jr. He says at one point that, oh, that's just Dad's name on the building or whatever.
Oh,
His dad
missed
was
that.
Lex Luthor. He's Lex Luthor Jr.
I missed that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that happens.
Oh.
I mean, well, there's a couple other things like
he
In this-
is Lenny.
in this movie, when Superman, before he roofie kisses Lois's memories away, the way he decides to show her he's Superman is to walk off of his balcony with her to make her think that he's attempting a murder-suicide and then turn into Superman and fly back up.
And absolutely no reaction on her part about that.
She's like, oh. And then they get into talking about like what's right and wrong or whatever.
At that point, she's still sort of like, what happened to Clark?
No, she did.
No,
she
she
wasn't.
said he was like, do you remember? And she's like, I remember everything, but only because like she remembered because he showed her. But after the kiss, she forgot everything again. So
Roofie breath.
roofie kisses. It's different. Because if you breathed on everyone and they forgot the last 50 minutes or like 3 hours or
I'm
whatever.
sorry. Roofie kisses are trademarked by that one creepy dude down the street who makes candy.
Oh.
I vaguely remember those.
Oh, that's just wrong.
I was thinking, Superman 4 is the basic equivalent of Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Because it's a plotless, pandery movie basically about nuclear disarmament, but in that one movie it was specifically U.S. and Russia versus each other.
Right.
But it's still the same basic garbage plot.
Yeah, but Rocky 4 was awesome.
That's the one with the Russian, right?
Yes, that's the one with the Russian.
If I get along and you get along, and maybe we get along.
Yeah.
By the
you know
way-
what movie I always forget? I always forget Rocky 5 happened, where he's training Tommy Gunn.
Which is the one with the robot butler?
No, that's 4.
Oh, Rocky 4.
Yeah. That's when Rocky loses any of his appeal to like the modern man.
Right.
And he's like, I'm just a rich man.
Yeah, he's
And suddenly he's okay with his brother-in-law, Paulie, who was like living in his house and was a dirtbag to him like the other 3 movies.
yeah. Rocky
Anyway.
comes and goes. I like Rocky Balboa and
Creed.
Creed.
Creed was awesome.
I
Loved
think they
that.
rebooted that franchise.
So Superman.
It
Yeah,
was
okay.
They didn't reboot it. They just continued it.
It had new wind. It got better.
It was a spin-off / sequel. That's what it was.
Yeah, let's go back to
Yeah,
Superman.
Back to
Yeah.
this bullshit.
And how would you fix this movie, Dave?
I think the fundamentals might be there. You've got a bad guy.
Like they had cameras and film.
You've got a good guy.
Well,
I need to see more reason and more planning on Lex Luthor and his side of the
Yeah.
fight.
because Nuclear Man was kind of like, I won't obey you. And then soon after was like, I'll obey you.
Right. I didn't see a master plan there, and I didn't see.
He wanted to kill Superman.
Well, yeah, even Lex admitted that but he had no master plan until the nuclear disarmament. He was like, why don't I just try to make a nuclear Superman? I guess I should do that, right?
But here's the thing: he's making money hand over fist by helping people get
Oh, yeah.
arms that they couldn't have otherwise.
And then he throws that deal out the window.
He throws that deal out the window, and he's really not harming anyone at this point. He's profiteering off a war, but he's profiteering in such a way that, like, Superman will always get rid of those missiles before they're launched. So he's just making the money, and he's given Superman something to do, which is just go out, take a walk, have a smoke, and get rid of a missile.
Hey, Superman doesn't smoke because smoking's bad for you.
Well,
But
Superman
not for him.
Superman has super lungs, so he could actually inhale cigars and he would be fine.
I can just see him taking one long drag of a cigar.
And then blowing out over a country and
no,
giving
no.
everyone cancer.
Not even blowing it out, just swallowing that air.
Yeah.
So what about you, Ian? How would you fix this movie?
Well, I gotta say, I read a thing about there were some deleted scenes
Really?
that just would have made this movie better. Like, for instance, Nuclear Man
Yeah.
was Nuclear Man 2
What?
in the original cut of the movie. He had a first try that didn't work out as well, and it was closer to being Bizarro.
Huh.
And Superman killed that one.
Like, were these actual scenes that were filmed?
Yeah. Huh. They're deleted. Yeah, I believe they're in, like, the Blu-ray or something.
Should have got that.
Well, I mean, like, in the deleted scenes area.
I think Bizarro is probably my favorite Superman villain.
When done
It
correctly.
depends on how
correctly.
he's portrayed.
Right,
Because he can be
Annoying.
stupid.
right. And I think Lex Luthor is pretty good too, but only because I think when you start rooting for Lex Luthor, it becomes it's more interesting of a of a plot. Sorry, continue, Ian.
Yeah.
I can't. Oh god. Well, there are some other things they took out that I'm like, why? You've done something bad
Was
there.
it character development things?
Yeah, there was
more about
stuff
the
like
Daily
that.
Planet.
Yes, there were more things about his relationship with that the new publisher of the Daily Planet, Lucy, who was becoming a better person.
Lucy Warfield.
Okay, Lucy Warfield. Can we just pause on her for a second? Didn't Nuke Baby take her into space
Yeah.
and she
A
fainted?
very long way into space.
And then there was no resolution on that, correct?
I
Well,
think
no,
Superman-
Superman got her away from him and flew her back to the planet. I think that was one of the deleted scenes had to do with him like dropping her off somewhere.
Also, Lucy was like immediately like, I'm in love with Clark Kent. And I cannot explain this, but I want him.
No, she wanted Clark Kent because she was told by Lois that Clark Kent would not like someone like her. And she was like, "Pfft, everyone likes me, I have money. So it became her sole mission in life to make Clark like her.
That is classic pickup artist game right there.
I have money.
No. She's like
No,
being the guy.
oh,
and be
I
like,
can't have you.
You're not my type. I'm not interested in you at all. Want to see a magic trick? I can fly.
Is that it?
I can't remember.
You would just put in the deleted scenes and say,
you know what? It'd be a better movie.
You'd put in the deleted scenes.
Job done.
You'd put in the deleted scenes, wash your hands, and walk away.
Well, I'm not the one actually physically putting in the deleted scenes. My hands are still clean.
What about you, Dylan?
This movie still takes place in its entirety. But this movie is, or maybe not in its entirety, but it's about that giant glad bag that holds all the nukes. And it's about the construction of such a monumental glad bag and all the workers working long hours, crunch time in the minutes before Superman needs the bag to destroy all the nukes, before the first nukes
Don.
are launched,
Hey, Don.
and he needs to throw them into the sun.
Bro.
Yes.
Can I just? I mean, we've been calling it a glad bag for a long time, but it was clearly a large steel mesh.
Made by Glad. Hashtag Glad.
Okay, continue.
Be glad.
But it's about the workers that had to work on this bag for months before the missiles were launched, and it got down to the time when the day, and they couldn't get a call out to the people that were going to launch the missiles. But they had to get the bag done before Superman would need to go and catch all the different missiles, and he had to put them somewhere. Where was he going to put those missiles? He wasn't going to put them in a store brand bag. That wasn't going to happen. It couldn't hold that. They don't have the stretchy capacity to hold all those nuclear missiles. You gotta have a glad bag,
Dude.
because they can stretch.
You can put it in a freezer?
And then it ends with the glad bag flying into the sun, completing its mission the way God intended. And Superman and the people and the administrators of the company glad. And everyone's great. It's like woo, we finally did it. Except it's not like in the movies where everyone's like woo, and then like the monster comes out of the fog, because they actually did it. They really destroyed all those nukes in their giant glad bag of world peace.
I want to retract my answer.
It didn't come out of it came out of nowhere. He just made it with his vision, bro.
What are you talking about?
He just made the bag with
It's made out of dead bodies, yeah.
I want to retract
Dead
my
bodies, hashtag glad.
Hashtag glad bodies.
Glad corpses, Ian.
I feel like glad bodies sounds better.
Feel free.
Okay, I want to retract my answer
Yes.
Good. Your
Based-
answer wasn't any good.
based on you, Mr. I just want to put in the deleted scenes. Lazy!
Hey, I never said I wasn't lazy.
But Dylan really stretched for it, and so I want to step up and say,
He stretched for it like a glad bag.
this is a small indie art house film.
Is glad still a thing?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen commercials in a while.
This
You don't
is-
watch TV?
This is a small indie art house film about a big city boy having to go back to Kansas to sell the farm and realizing in the process that he loves his small town
And doesn't want to sell the farm?
and he wants to become a farmer.
Okay.
Except the sequel is about how he realizes he isn't a farmer and has to hire out those positions to actual workers and ends up moving back to the city to run his conglomerate, which he owns a ton of farms from.
The quest for peace.
The quest.
A piece
Okay.
of profit.
So, how
I
would
would
you
like to-
actually fix the movie?
I
Ian,
would like to
after your
retcon my
garbage
answer.
answer.
I would like to retcon my answer, having finished my drink. I would rename it ever so slightly because Superman, while endeavoring to sell the farm, he hasn't done it yet. He
pest
looks
for
down.
Gleast?
He looks down into the ground, and lo and behold, he finds black gold, and it becomes Superman 4: The Quest for Oil, and he becomes an oil tycoon on his own land.
An oil baron?
Yes.
I drink your milkshake?
And he makes all of his everything with his vision. Just everything.
Yeah, I mean, he has his. He builds those
So,
like. Those,
is it Clark that owns the farm, or is it Superman?
No, Clark owns the farm.
Are you
Superman
sure?
doesn't.
I
own
feel like Superman would buy the Clark.
buy the Clark. He would buy Clark. Clark would be Superman's slave. It's a very
I feel
strange movie.
like Superman would buy the farm out from under Clark.
Hey, well-
wink, wink.
Superman can't buy the farm. He's Superman. He doesn't die.
But he builds everything with his mind.
Yeah, like those oil pump things. Oh yeah, Superman just makes those.
Out of dead bodies.
Out of dead bodies. And you know what? He puts dead bodies in the ground and makes them into oil.
And then he realizes he doesn't even need the pumps. He could just make oil with his vision.
But that's not as fun, David. It doesn't have the adventure of searching for oil or searching for at least pockets of air on the ground that he can fill with dead bodies, compress, and make into oil. That's what he needs.
Who needs Smallville when you can just compress all those people into oil?
He doesn't need the people in Smallville. He can make his own bodies.
What?
Like I said, he can just create dead bodies. They don't ever have needed to be
I
alive.
feel like I missed that.
This movie was just awful, and
Yeah.
I think we're done.
I think, yeah. We have to figure out what we're going to watch next.
Oh crap! I didn't think
Do
about
you
it.
have-
Where would we put it in our timeline?
Oh, where would we put it in our timeline? I think
Bleh.
we've had a good time with this podcast.
Good timeline.
With for reasons that you could probably surmise. But
Having finished my drink.
be quiet, Ian. Spoilers.
I would put it, okay, the costuming was on point compared to Green Lantern and Catwoman.
I'll
And you know
give
what?
you that.
You couldn't see his nipples,
You couldn't see his nipples.
Uh,
which
my-
is a plus.
Might be a downside for some people.
Okay.
Not me. Oh no.
But I think you raise a good point in that I think this Superman is in the same league as Batman and Robin, at least.
At
It's
the
not-
very least.
It's not at the bottom of our deck
No, it is not.
or our list.
It is. I would say it's better than Catwoman, and it's better than Green Lantern.
And, you know, some parts of it made me smile in a weird watching the world burn kind of way.
And the big thing it has on Green Lantern is it is 1 hour and 26 minutes long.
Instead
Yeah.
of over 2 hours.
So definitely above Catwoman and Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are the there were two more.
Well, we watched
Batman and Robin.
And what else?
G-Force.
Guyver.
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 G-Force? Yeah, there's a G in it. It has to be G-Force.
Was this better than Guyver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Guyver because I don't know. I almost said no because I've been reading the Guyver manga and I really enjoy it.
No,
But that is not the movie.
but the costuming was better.
Yeah.
It wasn't true to Superman really as the source material.
Well,
Yeah.
in that he could fly and had freeze breath, or wait, he
Right.
never used that.
And side note, me and Ian watched the sequel to Guyver. And while that movie, it tries to incorporate more of the things from the manga, it's also awesome. Because it's lower budget, but it's like way more violent.
Yeah, also there's not like a single joke in that movie.
Yeah.
It is soulless when it comes to
Alright.
comedy.
Yeah.
Going back to Superman 4, Quest for
But
Peace.
is it better than Batman and Robin?
Yes, I'm putting it at the top of my list.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say it's. I mean, as bad as an adaptation of Superman as it was, and as bad of a. I mean, when tomorrow we might not feel the same way, but right now it's on the top of the list.
Yep.
I just got hit in the face with this thought.
Yeah.
Literally?
yeah.
It must have hurt.
It did. What are we doing to ourselves?
This.
We are. This is a service to humanity, Dave.
The like 8 humans who listen to it.
3.
No, it's like
It's
8,
more.
I
It's more
think.
than that.
Boom.
What's
All
wrong
8
now?
of you. I love you. Tell your friends.
That he loves you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will.
Super good.
Just walk up to all your friends and just look at them in the eyes while you touch both their shoulders and get way too close to them and go, Dave loves you.
If you tell your friend that this podcast is awesome, I will personally send you a signed copy of this podcast.
For every person that likes this podcast, Dave will give Ben a great big hug.
Ben, I miss you, buddy. See you in July.
Is he out of town?
He's moving to Tennessee.
Well, that's a yes.
Shout out. He's not even he's
Yeah.
not in the city.
Hashtag Ben, hashtag glad.
Hashtag Ben. Hashtag Ben.
Hashtag Krypton.
So we've gotten past all that. It's the top of our list. What are we going to watch next?
Let me get the cards.
Next. What are we going to watch next?
What are we going to watch next?
Nest.
Next?
What are we going to watch next? And then what are we going to watch? S-Nest.
All right. There's only 3 of us today.
Yep.
So
I'm assuming you know what you want to watch, Dave.
I think our answers are probably staying the same as last week, right?
Well, mine has to change because I won, and boy did I win.
By the way, it's been unfair because we've just switched off winning.
Let me just tell you, I watched the most recent Ninja Turtle movie.
Uh-huh.
I no longer want to watch
Turtles in Time?
anything turtle related.
Really?
Oh man, you need
You
to
were-
vote for turtles because
You were a true believer, Dave.
It
You
was-
actually liked that horrible piece of shit movie.
I'll stand by it, but it was rough, man. I don't want to go down that road in the next 6 months or so.
well, you're gonna have to because we don't have 6 months of movies lined up in the comic book
Hey,
season.
we could extend this season as long as we need it to be.
That's not true. There aren't that many bad comic books. Why is one card right side up in the deck?
So, Ian, if you get the highest card, what do you want to watch?
I am going to go for Mystery Man
Again,
because we need some low budget garbage.
I'm pretty sure Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, was low-budget garbage.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't intended to be low budget garbage.
Just panned out that way.
Dylan, what about you?
I do not know.
You got to pick after you pick your card.
I know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Just come on.
I, with my movie, I'm gonna vote for The Spirit.
All right.
Keep it away from the thing.
And if I am the victor of this, I would like to watch R.I.P.D.
Ooh,
Really, you'd like to watch it? Have you ever seen it?
No, have
I
you?
have.
We have.
Ooh,
Is it
dear
really
God,
bad?
You'll
It-
see if you win. I almost feel like doubling down on your answer. What did I vote for?
The Spirit.
I'm a little sad that I got a 6.
Okay, well, so yeah, I'm going to abdicate The Spirit. I'm going to double down on R.I.P.D.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay, well, what's your card?
I make my own rules. It didn't matter. I got a 2. Who is Sida? From the
Sida?
Man with the Golden Gun.
You statistically have about a 40 or 52% chance of winning here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is messed up
For
because I
Mystery
voted for
Man.
Mystery Man.
You want to abdicate that and vote for R.I.P.D.?
I don't think that's kosher, Dylan. I think that I need to I need to stick with my guns.
I'd be happy with Mystery Men.
You'd think that.
Okay, I got Kissy Suzuki,
Who is?
who is from You Only Live Twice
What's the number?
in 1967.
A Jack!
A Jack.
We be watching Mystery Men, y'all.
Well,
It's okay. We can form a voting block, and we can eventually watch.
we can eventually watch R.I.P.D. I'm with you, Dave. Next movie, R.I.P.D.
Until that time, don't forget to rate us and to subscribe. And if you enjoy us, write comments.
Yeah.
And
DTL Podcast and DTLPodcast.com and hashtag DTLPodcast and at DTL Podcast on Twitter. And
Facebook.
and we're on Google Play and iTunes and something else.
We basically have one way of getting a hold of us for every person that is listening to our podcast. Make it happen.
Yeah.
And a few of you even have some phone numbers, so hey.
See you next time. Hashtag glad.
Hashtag glad.
Hashtag Krypton.
My first official act, of course, is to say, "You're fired!" If you want a reference for work, forget it! That's a good bit.